My wife was formerly promiscuous. I was a virgin.
Daddy, why did you tell everyone that Mommy used to be a...
One day you will understand.
I made Taffy put
I'm glad you made him put that out.
I'm like Taffy, my mom watches the show, dude.
When I saw the original, I'm like, oh, can we use, I don't know, another word?
Okay, well, to give people context who aren't on Twitter all day, this guy, like, that's not even an exaggeration. This guy decided he was going to just tell everyone that his wife was promiscuous. Bring up the tweet. I sent it to Telegram. Because we have to, before we get it. So here's actually, before you even bring it up, we're going to do a short segment on here tonight. We're going to discuss Eric Metaxas had James Lindsay and John Zmirak on his show, and they were discussing integralism, and they brought up Scott Hahn. So we're going to discuss that. But we have a ton of
absolutely retarded when it comes to integralism.
Yeah, we have a ton of topics that we want to talk about tonight, but we can't do them on YouTube for copyright reasons and just for subject matter. So we're going to do a short segment on YouTube tonight, and then we're going to jump over to locals. We haven't done a good locals in a little while. Rob was out last week. This is the first time getting us back together in a couple of days.
Been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be a short YouTube, and then we're going to head over to locals. Saturday, we have Father Maudsley on. And that'll be 8 a.m. That's going to be on locals only at first.
And if you guys have never seen a Father Maudsley Holy Week video, they're good.
Yeah, very good. So we'll discuss the liturgy, especially before Palm Sunday. You'll want to check that out. So locals, if you guys aren't members yet and you go join, you're going to get a good segment tonight. You'll get a good segment Thursday night, and then Saturday we got Father Maudsley on.
Hold on, locals might not be working tonight.
Oh, you kidding me? We have to have locals tonight.
Well, so someone's saying locals isn't coming up due to a Cloudflare issue, but it's coming up for me. So I think, I don't know.
That's that person specifically.
Yeah, hopefully.
Let me bring the locals chat up. Anyway, so all right, so yeah, this guy decides he's going to put this post on. So I want to just discuss purity. I mean, what would you even call this? What kind of culture is this in evangelical world?
It's not purity culture, right?
No, it's testimony culture.
Testimonials. They love their testimonies.
Wait, yeah, I'm seeing host error on locals.
When you go to locals, I got in fine, but
I'm seeing host error. Oh, there it goes. Just redo the thing. Okay, so yeah, this testimonial culture in evangelicalism is just getting out of hand. Like if you're on Twitter or X, you'll see people like that girl Lizzie talking about how she was a former stripper, and it's like they can't get enough of telling people about their past, and it's not coming off even as like Jesus saved me from this life. It's almost like bragging about their past sins, and it's very strange.
It's It has a flavor of like antinomialism to it, like to where this
is bad. Everybody's having a problem with locals. We need locals tonight.
Oh man, because last Tuesday you didn't go over to locals at all.
Yeah, I did with Sam Shamoon. Yeah, we did.
No, you did not, man.
Yeah, we did like 15 minutes over there. We talked about.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It was very short. And then Thursday you didn't go over at all.
Correct. But this is locals in general. It's not just our channel not coming up. Locals is down right now.
Well, they're talking about further escalating the war in the Middle East too. So who knows? Maybe Iran got us.
Man. All right. I mean, I guess we're gonna get pinched with a copyright.
Well, we have a couple subjects to talk about. Let's just talk about them, and then we'll see what's going on.
All right. All right. So if you guys figure that out,
I have the tweet.
Okay, so pull the tweet up. So this is what this guy does now, and I have to say this isn't unique to evangelical culture. It is very prevalent in it, but this is something similar to what Jason Everett used to do with his wife. Like Jason Everett and his wife would get on stage, and Jason Everett would get up and be like, I was a virgin and I never did anything, and my wife was a floozy. And it's just bizarre. But at least that was pre-internet. But like this guy comes out and he's like, my wife was formerly promiscuous. I was a virgin. She was then radically born again, committed to church, evangelized constantly, Puritan books in her bedroom, prayer journals, grief over past sexual sin, etc. We got to know each other well for over a year, dated for 4 months, engaged for 2.5, and didn't sin. Like this is too much.
What do you think he even means by that?
Like this is just dude. These guys all need locals. You don't brag about your past sins unless you have a locals membership.
You got a point. It's actually like too different from what you do on locals.
But it's a very small audience. It's not open for the public. It's for like a very small audience. It's on stuff that I think will like help people, you know.
Never mind. I'm on this guy's side now.
You weirdos, man. Oh, dude, this is crazy. It's freezing my entire computer up. This is not good. All right, there we go. Yeah, it's just really strange. And it's like, I see it everywhere. I see it with Chad. Chad's like bragging about his former meth use.
Meth addiction.
It's like, I mean, there are times when I'm sure that stuff is helpful for people, right? But I wonder what it does to the younger generation who's raised in a Christian home, it's almost like they're setting these kids up to think they have to go and commit these horrific sins in order to have a meaningful conversion. It's really strange.
I really don't understand it, other than like I said earlier, it seems like antinomial in so much as like they don't really believe like a moral law applies to them as long as they say their little altar calls and whatnot.
Yes, it's what we're watching with Elijah Schaefer right now. Elijah Schaefer goes and does that horrific thing with Sarah Stock, and he comes up and he's like, I'm Orthodox now, guys. I apologize. I said sorry to God. That's all that's required of me. It's like this really strange thing where people think they can commit these really public heinous acts and then just say, I repented.
What it is they're taking advantage of whatever little remnants of a Christian culture we have to use conversion as a get out of jail free card. Yeah.
I mean, it's no different. Like, to me, Elijah Schaefer is no different than Nala Ray, and Nala Ray appalled all of us, right? Like, she went from being an OnlyFans girl to then jumping on and actually selling like a biblical ministry or something. And that's basically what Elijah.
I think Elijah Schaefer's worse. He destroyed the family he was given responsibility for.
Yeah, his own and another one.
And that's true too.
Yeah, he destroyed 2 marriages.
So Nala probably destroyed plenty too, but in a less direct sort of way, I would say.
Yeah. So yeah, Taffy, you kind of derailed us this episode. I'm hoping. All right. So what everybody's saying is, if you have the Locals app, the Locals app works, but it's not working on people's laptops. So if you are a Locals member, just go to the app and the app is working fine.
It's working on my laptop, but weird.
Yeah. All right. Either way. All right. So I came across this show the other day. Actually, it was mentioned on when I had, what's his name on Catholic Esquire on. He had mentioned the show to me and I was like, I'll go check it out. Play the shorter clip. I put like a 35-second clip in there. Let's play that real quick.
So, okay. It is the one you just sent me.
Yeah, the one I just sent in. Let's play that one first, and then you probably got to download the other one because it's a pretty long one. I don't think we'll get through that whole clip, but this just stood out to me. It was really strange.
So who's the guy on the right?
All right, so the guy on the right is John Zmirak. Now, John Zmirak, he used to be pretty well known in like the church militant circles and stuff. He's a writer.
So he's Catholic?
He is Catholic, yeah. And I'm telling you, man, like we started talking about this when we saw the Philos project or the Philos project coming out. Like me and you kind of just saw that and we're like, this is weird, man. Like there's going to be some kind of divide coming forward in the church. And this is where these are the fault lines. You saw today, Daily Wire put out an article saying there's something about
Matt, like,
Catholic converts, right?
well, like, yeah, there's mass new converts to the Catholic Church, but it's like, but here's what's weird about it, or something like that.
I should try to find that. We should try to find that
I
because
can take a look here real quick.
because somebody posted, I'm sorry guys, just give us a second. This is stuff I probably should have lined up before we started. I didn't know this is exactly where we're gonna go. Well, Rob, why don't we play the clip while you're looking for it?
Okay. Okay, here's the clip.
We can keep a moral society without getting into religious civil war. And there are signs of religious civil war out there. On the one hand, these Catholic integralists, one of them is Scott Hahn, this very popular Catholic, popular theologian. Adrian Vermeule, a professor at Harvard, Patrick Deneen, a professor at Notre Dame. They want the government to back the one true religion. And some of them want to outlaw Protestant churches.
Okay, and I just want to say, what we're talking about is fundamentally un-American.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
So okay, so just think about what he's saying there. Like, of all the dividing lines, to pick Scott Hahn as the dividing line is a very strange thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, I think some people are more wise to this than people realize. Like, when I tell you that Scott Hahn is the one who set me down this path of constantly talking about the older brother stuff, that is where I started going down this road.
I think he gets mentioned more often than you would think by the other side, because those on the other side that know him know what he probably thinks privately, right?
But Hahn was like Catholic royalty in normie Catholic world. It's so strange to me.
Mhm.
I can't even fathom. Like, the guy doesn't say anything publicly. It's really strange. So if you bring up the
He
longer
is like
clip,
your antithesis. Completely.
yeah, like I say everything. Scott Hahn is so guarded. He doesn't really say anything. But I think that, I mean, you never know because people don't like to say our names, but it could have been we kind of let people onto it with our Gavin Ashenden, Scott Hahn stream. I think more people came across that than we realized, where we were, because when it comes down to it,
that clip I took from it and put it on Twitter that everyone
Yeah.
screenshotted and didn't link to me.
yeah,
I got a few 100,000 views.
And I think that show kind of went bigger than we expected, and people are picking up because this issue, they're going to frame it like it's about Catholic integralism, but it's not really. It's about Zionism. It's about support for Israel, and it's the same thing with the Daily Wire issue. It's the same reason Daily Wire is bringing Matt Fradd over there. So we'll play the longer clip and we'll get into it, and they kind of explain it a little bit deeper. But it is just bizarre to me how Scott Hahn is the guy whose name, because they're talking about Nick Fuentes in this clip. They're talking about all these controversial figures, and then Zmirak throws in Scott Hahn in there. It was really odd to me.
Here's the Daily Wire article from today.
Okay, so the Catholic convert boom is real, but a troubling pattern is emerging. Now, somebody sent me like a segment of that article. Shoot. That's what I was hoping to find. Why don't we play this clip? I'll listen and I'll see if I can find that.
You wanted me to find something someone sent you?
No. I wanted you to find that, but there's somebody sent me like a screenshot because it's behind a paywall.
Yeah,
that's behind a paywall. So
I think it's funny that Metaxas in that clip has well, I suppose it's his own book on Bonhoeffer on his desk. Like the dude wrote a book about like a non-Trinitarian heretic, and here he is telling us what real Christianity is. Are you?
Yeah, Metaxas is one of the worst, and he was on that show with him. He was like that's what I mean by like the Daily Wire is platforming a lot of these guys, and they're just trying to push this Catholicism through. Am I freezing?
Is Anthony's audio going weird for everyone? Yeah, your internet seems iffy for me.
I'm thinking that might be. I don't know if it's the internet or if it's my locals.
Well, close out locals. You don't need it right now.
I'm trying. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, yeah. All right, let's play this clip and let's see if maybe I can find that thing.
Hold on. What clip now?
The longer clip with Zmirak.
From is it from a few days ago at this point?
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. I popped it in there. It's like a 5-minute long clip.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Give me a second.
Yeah, sometimes when we put videos in like a while ago, they have to be like re-downloaded.
Here we go.
Catholic integralism. You are a Catholic. Tell us what it is.
Sure. I first identified this back in 2013, and I wrote an article called.
Wait, pause it for 1 second, Rob. What you're going to see here is Zmirak, the Catholic, give a horrible explanation for what Catholic integralism is, and then James Lindsay give an accurate description of what it is, which is really bizarre.
Catholicism, illiberal Catholicism. You can look it up. I warned everything that's happening now with the division between Catholics and Protestants, with the hostility towards Israel and the conspiratorial madness, the splintering of the pro-life movement and the pro-family movement. I warned about all of it back in 2013 in this article, Illiberal Catholicism.
Illiberal Catholicism.
I can make
Otherwise known as Catholicism.
It's nuts.
the integralist movement pretty simple. It's Catholic Sharia. That's it. Catholic Sharia. Now,
Wait,
let's unpack that.
Somebody's saying they look the same. Dude, that's not even an exaggeration. They literally look like the same person. It's really
Almost
strange.
Yeah.
Like they look like the same person with one with less hair and a little older.
For decades, the pro-life, pro-family movement has been ecumenical. Catholics, Protestants, some Orthodox Jews. I remember being with Operation Rescue with these wonderful Orthodox Jews outside abortion clinics in Manhattan. That's how I spent the 90s with Operation Rescue. What we basically agreed on was the American founding did not establish one given church, but it did propose to base our positive laws on natural law. Natural law is the truths, the moral truths that we can know by reason alone. A lot of it's echoed in the Bible. Most of the 10 Commandments are natural law. Natural law is something that you can be known by reason alone. Abortion is wrong. Same-sex marriage is wrong. There are two sexes. Just count them, two. Children should obey their parents.
He sounded pretty Catholic Sharia to me too, though.
But not even that. This is like such a neocon, like older MAGA mindset where it's like, as long as you say there's two genders, we're good. It's like it's like the lowest bar imaginable. It's like, okay, I'm pro-life and there's two genders, and that's all they really care about. Everything else is
but
like,
whoa, don't send women to prison for abortion, though. That's too far.
Yeah, that's too far. We wouldn't want to punish a murderer for their crime. But it's funny. And wait until Lindsay gets into it, because Lindsay actually describes accurately what Catholic integralism actually is.
All the basic principles. Thomas Aquinas wrote that all positive law should be based on natural law. Martin Luther King made this same argument. The Nuremberg trials were based on the principle that just because Germany passed a law saying Jews didn't get citizenship and marriage between Jews and Gentiles was wrong, those laws were null and void because they violated natural law, the law God wrote on the human.
Martin Luther King participated in rape of women, so I don't know if he knew much about the natural law, man.
Human heart, which St. Paul said he put there so that the Gentiles would be without excuse. The pro-life movement, the pro-family movement, the marriage movement was all based on natural law. And Catholics, we kind of pioneered most of the natural law arguments. Gradually, evangelicals started to follow us. And instead of quoting the Bible to make a point, they would make natural law arguments from reason alone. What the Catholic integralists want to do, they want to base positive laws on dogma, on divine revelation, on statements by the Pope.
Imagine that. We want laws based on divine law. That's just crazy.
Like, do you hear this guy's Catholic?
No, not really.
But that, like,
You know what I
that's
mean? Like,
but
come
that's
on.
yes, you're 100% right. He's not really Catholic. Like,
He
this
could be a
is
bishop. He'd be a great bishop.
yes, exactly. He'd be a great Novus Ordo bishop. This is something that especially when you read the early church, what you see is you get Catholics into positions of government, and that's how you start forming the proper order of the state, is where you get Catholics into positions of authority in the government, and they act on Catholic principles.
Yeah.
And he's saying he doesn't want like these guys. Man, I'll tell you, I used to not get the religious liberty argument from the SSPX because I was looking at it from an American perspective, and I was like, well, no, you kind of got to have religious liberty because we as Catholics want to be left to worship as Catholics. But what really happened is it took the church putting that out for the borders to be opened worldwide. Almost like the Western nations couldn't do it until the church gave permission. So the church goes, so goes the world. As the church goes, so goes the world. That's kind of what happened, where the church puts out this statement on religious liberty, and that all of a sudden gives permission for the unification of synagogue and state to then open the borders and just pour in Muslims. What's crazy is the same people who told you to let Muslims pour into your country are now trying to convince us that Muslims can't coexist in a Christian nation in Western society. It's really these are the guys who are telling you about religious liberty and ecumenism are all of a sudden going to flip it on you and tell you, no, but what about Islam? It's like, this is the problem with religious liberty. It's one thing when you're talking about a couple of different Protestant sects and you're like, all right, yeah, separation of church and state. But all of a sudden you let Muslims and Hindus and Indians in, and it's a disaster.
You got to read this one.
I might have to reconsider my kosher hot dog business. For some reason, Ann's Frank hasn't been very popular with the target audience. I want to get into Lindsay, because he actually describes it properly. I was
gonna say I don't even know where this guy's going at this point.
Yeah, he's like, just totally upset that Catholics are Catholic.
The Pope interpreting the Bible, that is crossing the line. That is creating the kind of system that the Puritans fled England to get away from. That's creating.
That's Americanism.
He is so stupid. The Puritans fled England to get away from Anglicanism.
Anglicans, yeah.
Are you? Plus, I'm Catholic. What do I care why the Puritans did anything?
I'm telling you, man, this is, well, he's on a Protestant show and he's trying to kiss up to the Protestant, and it's just, but all of this has to do with Zionism, dude. This doesn't have to do with anything else. You just when these guys are talking, just understand that all this is about is Israel. It's the same thing with James Lindsay and his woke right nonsense. Yeah. Just has to do with support for Israel. That's all this comes down to.
Yeah, this guy got his history from that Timu Chinese professor that's everywhere.
That guy, they're just forcing him down everyone's freaking throat.
Which is funny because he just has a bachelor's degree in English. That's all.
He's just a conspiracy theorist who wants to start his own religion at this point. That's what the guy said. So, all right, let's finish this up.
Creating the kind of system that the Catholic Church itself renounced in 1965 at Vatican II. The Church.
They can't ever help but tell on themselves, can they?
Yeah.
Said religious liberty is fundamentally a human right, that religious liberty is part of the natural law.
No, it's not.
That laws impinging on people's religious freedom are actually sinful in themselves.
No.
This was a big admission for the church, because the early church supported religious liberty right up until after Constantine converted the Roman Empire to Christianity.
This is such horrible history.
Now he's pulling out Mormon points.
Religious liberty in that you can't force conversions, maybe. Like you can't force baptize people. Like people have to come to God freely. It really is funny. They all tell on themselves.
This screed by him should destroy any credibility he has in the Catholic Church. It really should.
What a total imbecile.
Oh my gosh.
His successor, Theodosius, went a step further and banned pagan religion and punished Jews and made Catholicism mandatory.
Okay, just to be clear, so people are tracking, the word for what we're talking about, essentially, ladies and gentlemen, is theocracy.
No,
right? Theocracy
these people don't even know what a theocracy is.
Oh my goodness.
Theocracy is rule by priest. Oh.
means that you, and this is what the secular
There's
left
never been a Catholic
accuses.
theocracy, by the way.
No,
Never, ever has there
It's-
been a Catholic
it's-
theocracy.
Well, the papal states would technically be a
Okay, yeah,
theocracy,
you're right. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
right,
yes,
because it
100%.
is the Pope having
Yes.
temporal rule. But that's
Correct.
But that's it.
But what I meant was, like, in Europe, those were never theocracies.
No,
Those were like the secular being subordinate to the religious. That's all that was. It was that, in a proper setup, the secular is subordinate to the religious, and the secular owes like fealty to Christ the King. That's all the Catholic principle is that it doesn't matter like what country you're in or what kind of government you have. Every ruler owes fealty to Christ the King.
right, and should model laws after divine and natural law, so on and so forth. But that it is their prerogative, their sphere of influence. The secular life is their sphere of
Correct.
Power.
Yeah.
Not the church's sphere of power.
Yeah. All right, let's
man.
finish this out. I can't believe we
Christians
made it this far.
What?
I can't believe we made it this far.
This
But
is hard to sit
I have
through.
to get to James Lindsay because it's crazy how much better he is at explaining this.
Look at the face on Metaxas right there.
Of that, you want to impose your beliefs on others, and
Right.
those of us who are Christians say, no, we don't want to impose our beliefs.
Yes, we do.
believe-
This is something like, what is it with Christians and being afraid to say, no, we want to impose our morality in our law. Every single law is a moral code.
Yeah.
If you have a law against theft, it's a moral code. We absolutely want to impose our morality in law. I don't get how people don't understand this. There's nothing wrong. We don't want to impose. No, we don't want to force you to be Catholic. We're not going to force you to convert and become Catholic, but you will live by the moral code of the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church is just describing what actual morality is.
And they're lying anyways. They do want to impose their moral code on us. They want to impose Zionism upon us.
Yes, they don't want us to impose ours on them, is what
Right.
they're saying.
in religious liberty, I believe what I believe is true, but it doesn't mean that I want to impose it. There's certain things I can impose. Murder is wrong. That's not. I'm not going to ask you your opinion on that. But there are many other things that we have to be liberal about, in the best sense
and the
of
way
liberal.
to draw the line. Can you make the arguments for this based on natural law, based on reason? You can prove that slavery is wrong based on natural law. You can prove that men and women are only eligible for marriage to each other based on natural law. You can quote the Bible if you want to, but you're not going to persuade non-believers. So what you need to do is make these arguments based on human nature, human flourishing. These are the ways we can keep a moral society without getting into religious civil war.
Human flourishing. That's the exact line that gay Israeli Harari uses in all of his books.
Because it's
Human flourishing. That's all
he's using this crazy language, because I hope I even recorded Lindsay's explanation.
I'm certain
I'm not sure I did. So, I mean, Lindsay is sitting there like adult right now, but what we'll finish it out. If he didn't, I'll explain what he says.
Okay.
And there are signs of religious civil war out there. On the one hand, these Catholic integralists, one of them is Scott Hahn, this very popular Catholic, popular theologian. Adrian Vermeule, a professor at Harvard, Patrick Deneen, a professor at Notre Dame. They want the government to back the one true religion. And some of them want to outlaw Protestant churches.
Okay.
So, all right. So Lindsay ends up getting it, which I didn't even cut the clip, and I don't even care to hear.
I'm glad we watched 5.5 minutes.
I thought he was going to get to it. He ends up going, well, no, actually, that's not what integralism is. Integralism is actually that the temporal is subordinate to the spiritual, which that's what integralism is, right? It's like the temporal order needs to be subordinate to the spiritual, which is basically the order of Christendom. So the temporal order of the king, they couldn't just make laws that were contrary to divine law. You can't. Like, and
Right.
the way Zmirak is, what a disgrace of a man. And it's crazy that he'll get the backing of these bishops, because this all comes down to this whole incident we just saw go down with Carrie Prejean and all this stuff. It's all interconnected. So I guess maybe we should read. Well, first off, I just sent you the segment from the Daily Wire article. So unlike many branches of Christianity, I just sent it.
Let me pull it up.
See that little clip right there?
Yeah, let me
pop that up.
Shoot this tab. Here we go.
Okay, so unlike many branches of Christianity, the Catholic Church does not demand that the faithful be committed Zionists to receive God's blessing. Many prominent members of the church have spoken out about the plight of civilians in Gaza. It seems recent converts to the faith understand those teachings, but somehow forget that the church also rejects any form of anti-Semitism, condemns hostility towards Jews, and upholds the enduring covenant.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not. This is where they're wrong. And upholds the enduring covenant with the Jewish people as God's chosen people.
No.
That is a complete lie. The church absolutely does not, even after the council, does not do that. They have already become cafeteria Catholics, picking and choosing which parts of the teaching they prefer. The church nowhere calls the Jews the people of God. Nowhere. The church actually in Nostra Aetate specifically says that the church is the people of God. Yep. Like, it actually does endorse supersessionism in Nostra Aetate. These people are, look, this whole conversation, even with what Carrie Prejean Bowler was doing, though, that's wrong too. This whole thing, anytime you see them framing it under religious liberty, we're Catholics, we can't be forced to be Zionists. No, that's not anti-Semitism. She's right that that's not anti-Semitism, but couching this conversation in the Gaza conversation, couching it in, well, Muslims have religious freedom too. That is not the way to have this conversation. This conversation needs to go very differently than it's being put forward in the public. And even with Bishop Barron's statement and Dolan then today coming out and endorsing Barron's statement, look, I have my issues with Carrie Prejean Bowler. I'm not a fan of hers at all. But in Barron's statement, I think I put that in there. Let's bring Barron's statement up. It was probably back a little ways.
Oh, crap. I clicked on the wrong one. I got it here.
Yeah, I got Barron's statement right here. So over the past several weeks, Carrie Prejean Bowler has complained that she was removed from the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty because of her Catholic beliefs, and she has called out myself and other Catholic members of the commission for not defending her. This is absurd. Mrs. Prejean Bowler was not dismissed for her religious convictions, but rather for her behavior at a gathering at the commission last month.
I mean,
I got to be honest, I'm on his side so far.
Up to that point, all that does seem accurate. Yeah.
Browbeating witnesses, aggressively asserting her point of view, hijacking the meeting for her own political purposes. Still on your side, Bishop.
Yeah.
The Catholic position on matters of Zionism, to which I fully subscribe, is as follows. So this is where it gets problematic. All forms of anti-Semitism are to be unequivocally condemned. What is anti-Semitism?
And by saying all forms, you're automatically saying anything anyone says is anti-Semitism is bad.
All forms is giving the ADL talking point.
You should say true anti-Semitism, then give some sort of definition.
Which is hatred of people because of their ethnicity, like their genetics or something. You know, like you cannot hate a people based on their genetic heritage. Like that's racism, and that is wrong. So you can't hate Jews simply because they're Jews. You can't.
You should. I mean, really, all you need to say is Catholics cannot hate other people, like
anyone. But that doesn't. But criticism of Jewish behavior is not anti-Semitism.
Correct.
I'm sorry, it's just not. Criticism of Jewish behavior
of their theology is not
anti-Semitism.
Criticism of their cultural practices is not anti-Semitism.
So the Catholic position, all right, so he says all forms of anti-Semitism would be unequivocally condemned. The state of Israel has a right to exist.
No.
I would argue against that emphatically.
No state does.
Yeah, and as a Catholic, I don't think there is no way a Catholic can financially support or give any kind of support to a Jewish state. You know,
Especially one in the Holy Land.
in the Holy Land specifically. Yeah. So the state of Israel has a right to exist, but the modern nation of Israel does not represent the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. I agree with that, and hence does not stand beyond criticism. But neither do Jews, is the point. Like, you can criticize Italians, you can criticize blacks, you can criticize Muslims. If you can criticize all those people, you can criticize Jews as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it does not equal anti-Semitism. If Mrs. Prejean Bowler were dismissed for holding these beliefs, it is difficult to understand why I am still a member of the commission. To paint herself as a victim of anti-Catholic prejudice or to claim that her religious liberty has been denied is simply preposterous. Like, I'm not against calling out Carrie Prejean Bowler's behavior. Like, the woman is obnoxious, and I am not a fan of obnoxious women. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not. And the thing is, like, I'm not going to change my view on that just because she's saying the thing I like. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's the same thing with that guy talking about his wife's promiscuity. Like, there's a level of decorum we need to have in public life. She has said multiple times herself, I'm a mom and I'm a wife. I shouldn't be the one having this conversation. She said it, but she insists on continuously doing it.
And guys, when you are getting lectured about decorum by us two, you screwed up.
Yeah, but I would say we stay in our lane.
That's true. Like,
I think we stay in our lane. I don't think I step outside of my lane. So what's going on with locals?
Well, I don't know about that yet, but we do need to talk about the people about our sponsors.
Yes.
We do need that. And then we do have this super chat.
Got into some Twitter spats with y'all on my Anon alt. I want to apologize if that woman pursues any legal action. Happy to help pro bono. God bless.
I'm interested to know what
I'm in spats all day on Twitter, so I don't know which one it is.
You're gonna have to be more specific, but we do appreciate it.
But yeah, we're always open to making amends. Always, yeah. Okay, so sponsors, knickknack.com. Knickknacks are amazing. We love knickknacks. Knickknack.com. Knickknack is a nicotine product, and nicotine is an addictive substance. It is not a smoking cessation device, but it has helped me wonderfully get off my smoking habit. We love knickknacks, man, and my wife loves them because I don't leave spitballs all over the house. They're very nice to just. I honestly, I get them and I break them in half. I don't even put a full one in.
Same.
Because you don't need a full one, so they last way longer than Zyn does, and we'll never go the Alp route. We'll never turn our back on knickknacks. Knickknacks is the bomb. We're gonna stick with them. So local's still not working. What are we gonna do about this, Rob? Also shoplobster.com. Rob, can we get more lobster?
I'll ask him. I would like one more order.
One more shipment of lobster. I would like, because I think you said we had one more coming to us. Like he
offered one more. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not being paid for this. We're getting paid in lobster. We're getting paid in product, and we're not supposed to get high in our own supply. But I got to tell you, that's it. That's been my whole Lent. I'm just surviving on knickknacks and lobster.
Knickknack and lobster.
Knickknack and lobster. The whole.
I'm excited for tomorrow, though.
What's tomorrow?
Meat day.
I know.
For the Annunciation.
Oh, you get to. Oh, that's right. Yeah, tomorrow's the Annunciation. Be prepared for the demons to be unleashed.
Yeah.
They always come out of the woodwork. So shoplobster.com, use code AB10 for 10% off. And the knickknack code is AB25 AB25?
AB25%.
They're both percent? Okay. So AB25%
what?
for
No. AB10 is 10% off of lobster.
We gotta get it.
AB25% is 25% off of your first order only at Knickknack.
Yeah, when you weren't on, I just butchered.
I know. I'm getting text messages of you like, "Oh, what's the code? What's the code?" I'm like, "It's right there in locals."
Rob had to teach me how to find banners. I'm like, I don't know where they are. Where are the banners? He's like, it's up on the right hand side. Just look for banners. I'm like, oh, okay, that'll work. Yeah, dude, I have to work Friday night. They just told me I have to do a night shift on Friday night, and we have
Maudsley
Saturday. Yeah. Ooh. I don't know. I might have to just pull an all-nighter and run straight through. All right. Some people saying the Locals app is working.
I mean, it's working on my computer just fine.
We're gonna have people are gonna have to catch the show.
I think
later
we just have to try it.
I think people like we're streaming to it, so it might be something that's not working at the moment.
I mean, there's 43 people in it right now watching.
Yeah, guys, what we have to talk about is way too important to not go over there. Like, we have to go over there. Us too, Amy. I will always be a Scott Hahn defender. Is tomorrow a holy day? No, tomorrow's not a holy day.
It's a first class feast, but it's not a holy.
But it's not a holy day of obligation.
But as a first class feast, I'm eating meat tomorrow.
And if you can make it to mass, you absolutely should go.
Yeah,
but it's not a holy day of obligation.
I think it's not in America. It might be over in England. I'm not sure though.
Man, I really hope Locals is working because we got some good stuff to do over there, guys. Like some really good stuff to do over there. And we have last week I didn't do enough for Locals, and I really want to do some good stuff for Locals this week. We're gonna have to do it, and maybe you guys will have to pick up the stream later because it's streaming there. So if you can't get through now,
Jim is. Yeah, you guys want to go over because one of the guys in there is comparing pictures of me and my new glasses to Michael Moore, so you don't want to miss that.
But we have to talk about this movie Sinners. This movie Sinners, everybody thinks it's just about racism, and it's not. It's one of the most evil movies I've ever seen in its messaging. It is about rap as a religion. It is about black music as a religion. It is about black people. It's not just about whites. It's about the white religion that we gave them. It's about Christianity and them turning on Christianity. So the whole thing is this warped, demonic take on Christianity and white people. And I want to go over there and discuss it. And the clip I want to play, we'll get a copyright if we do it here. Then there's also stuff with bad language in it that I want to discuss. Also, we have 4 spots left on the Italy pilgrimage.
Oh, you do still have 4?
I didn't think we did, but we're trying to work things out. And it looks like we have 4 more spots. So if anybody does want to go, there's 4 spots. Email me at anthony@avoidingbabylon.com and we'll see if we can squeeze you in. So the main pilgrimage sold out in like 2 weeks, and we're trying to shift stuff around and see how we can do. It looks like we could fit 4 more people on it. So if anybody is still interested in going, shoot me an email, anthony@avoidingbabylon.com. Let's go check out Locals, Rob. Let's go see what we can do over there because I can't bring it up on my own, but I definitely want to.
Let's see. What do we want to play as an outro? This is a good one. It's a little long, but it will be worth it.
In this place, new light is streaming. Now is the darkness vanished away. See in this face our fears and our dreamings brought near to you in the light of this day. Gather us in the lost and forsaken. Gather us in the blind and the lame.